morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is, what is it? Tuesday morning. Tuesday, 11:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is episode 31 of McRae Live. It is, Tuesday, March the 17th, 2020. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all you Irish folk out there. I am not Irish, but Happy St. Patty's Day to all you out there. I know what you're thinking. McRae. Isn't that Scottish? Isn't McRae Scottish? McRae? It is, but funny enough, funny story. I'm actually not related by blood to a McRae. My father's real dad died in World War II. His last name was Pichet, and then my grandmother married a gentleman by the name of Bill McRae when my father was only about 3 years old. And naturally, of course, my father took his last name of McRae. So Bill McRae was my grandfather growing up. I was the only grandfather I ever knew on my dad's side because he essentially became my father's dad at age 3 because my real grandfather, Earl Pichet, was killed in World War II. He was riding I think he was riding the back of a tank or something like that, and a sniper got him, unfortunately. So Pichet obviously is French. So there might be a bit of Scottish in me somewhere down the line. I think actually there might be, but it's not from the McRae. So my dad actually never legally changed his name. He just took his father's name and just became Earl McRae. And then, of course, I'm Dave McRae. But I guess technically I'm Dave Pichet. Technically, I don't know. It's kind of strange in there. So kind of cool. But happy to all you folks out there who I started the joke. Music's too loud, Dave. It's supposed to be that loud. It's supposed to be loud, man. It's supposed to be. This is the beginning of a show. Think of it like you're listening to a radio show. It's supposed to be loud to get you up in the morning. It's not supposed to be down below here where you just here. Let's do it again for you. There you go. You like that? Here, we'll do it again. We'll do it again just because you complained. Hey everybody, it's we'll stop the music. It is so it's Halloween talk today. I want to talk some Halloween today, but I want to open the show talking about because I promised that I would do this, and I want to do this because he's a patron of mine, and he has been working very hard. JP DeStefano has been working very hard. I guess he's sort of come to the end of that. But he was working very hard on a Halloween fan film for the last number of years, or last year or so, maybe a bit longer than that. He's been working hard on this. Now I know what you're thinking. Fucking Halloween fan film, and you're right. I mean, you wouldn't be wrong to think of that because one of the reasons why I decided to do a Black Christmas fan film and not a Halloween fan film, and it's me, Billy, like we're taking it to the next level, right? I mean, this is not, I have a little experimental sort of fun Halloween fan films on my channel, but that's not the quality that you're going to get when it comes to It's Me, Billy. I mean, you're going to get, state-of-the-art professional quality when it comes to that movie, because we're taking it to that level. But one of the reasons why I didn't decide to do this kind of thing, like take it to the next level with a Halloween fan film, is because it's a saturated market. Everybody and their uncle has got a Halloween fan film, and some Halloween fan films are really good, and some are not so good, and some are sort of middle of the road. I mean, you have Halloween fan films where you're like, okay, well, clearly these are independent filmmakers making this movie. I can tell, like it's well shot, it's this, that, and the other. And then you got people, it's like, well, this is clearly a backyard, film with their friends, and blah blah blah. So there's, but the point I was making is that it's a saturated market, if you will, right? There's a Halloween fan film to please and to piss off everybody. It's just like YouTube Halloween fan film, and there's probably like I wouldn't be surprised if there was like 1,000 that pop up. It's just ridiculous. Friday the 13th, of course, is in there too. Elm Street fan films are there, but they're very far and few between. Same with Child's Play. And there's next to no Black Christmas fan films at all. I think there's like one amateur kind of independent one from a few years back, but there's nothing in the realm of like, what Vincent DeSante has done with Never Hike Alone and what Cecil's doing with Dylan's New Nightmare. And that's what we're doing with It's Me, Billy, with Black Christmas. We're taking it to that level. So that's why I didn't decide to go off and do that again with Halloween. But there are people out there that are still doing it, still, trucking away and trying to create the quintessential Halloween fan film. And, and it's tough. It ain't easy to do, because you can't please everybody. You never set out to please everybody because you're not going to, right? You're just not. So you don't do that. You set out, you do the best you can, you put your vision on the table and you let the chips fall where they may. And if people love it, great. If some people like it, or don't like it, well, that's bound to happen. So JP DeStefano, who's a patron of mine, he's probably watching right now. He's been working on this Halloween fan film called Halloween Night for a while. And the trailer was released, what was it, last summer or something like that? Back a bit. And watched the trailer, and it was good. It was very well put together. It was the editing was good, but the production value was solid. So it was, it piqued my interest. There were, and again, and let me say this, and you guys know me, I'm going to be honest. Okay. And JP knows this. He knows this. He wants that from me, right? I would assume he wants me to be honest. He doesn't want me to sugarcoat anything, right? He wants me to be honest, and that's what we want. We want people to be honest and tell us what we think. And you guys know me. Just because JP's a patron of mine, and he's a big supporter of the channel, that doesn't mean I'm going to just, say, oh, I'm going to say, maybe you're going to, that's who I am, right? That's who I am. And that's why people like coming to this channel, I think for the most part, because, they know they're going to get the truth as I see it. So I was excited for this because the production value looked really good. And anytime you can see a production value on a Halloween fan film that is really good, it's exciting because there's so many that are not good. And so I think they still had some things to do. They were in post-production for a bit, and they decided to, and then they finished it and they released it. They were going to release it on March the 13th, but I think it was just taking too long to upload, probably because it was like a 10 gig file or something, who knows. And then they uploaded it, and I watched it, and I gotta say, JP, if you're watching, I gotta say, excellent work. It was really well done. Now, there's things in there that I would have done differently, creative choices that I would have, as a director, I would have done differently. But to give you sort of a general consensus overall, and by the way, head to the YouTube channel Thunder Knock Studios. Thunder, like, thunder, Thunder Knock Studios. Because that is where this movie is, and check it out for yourself. It's really well shot. The acting is really good, is good. And JP is probably the best actor in the movie. I was impressed. I was like, this guy's good. This guy's good, man. I think about getting one of my, this is good. But I really enjoyed the, it's directed well. It's paced well. It's got some nice tense moments in it. And there's some moments in there where I'm like, that's really good. That's a nice moment. I like that. Like, I like the moment when, I don't want to give too much away. It could be because I don't want to spoil anything, but the moment where there's a certain somebody who's trying to escape and then he ends up being, I think you know what I'm talking about, JP, right? It's like, oh, it was good. It was good. It was really good. And I like that. And it was, again, there are always creative decisions. Like, I'm sure, when we finally get It's Me, Bill, of course, we're still, we haven't even launched our campaign yet, our Indiegogo campaign. But once It's Me, Billy is released and things like that, JP will probably watch it and hopefully he'll be like, oh, that was really good. But as a creative type himself, there'll probably be some creative, decisions and choices that I make where he might be like, yeah, I don't know if I would have done that, but I see what you're doing. But maybe, it's just, it's the way it is, right? When you get creative heads all bashing together. But we always hope that overall we're like, that was good. We really like that. So that's kind of how I feel about it. And I really like, I got to say, and this is no disrespect to any of the actors in the movie, but I really liked when JP was on the screen. I really, I connected with your emotional choices that you made. Just the facial expressions that you had. I believed that you were this person. And it's not that, I mean, everybody else around me was crap. I mean, not at all. It's just when you were on screen, I believed in your emotional choices. I believed in the worry that you had. I believed, when you were looking around the warehouse, right, and you're kind of doing this, and just I just something in your eyes spoke to me, and I totally believed it. So that was I was impressed. I didn't know, to be fair, I didn't know you were actually in the movie. I don't think, are you in the trailer? I can't remember if you're in the trailer now. Maybe you are, and I totally brain farted on that. But because of course JP is also the director of the film, so that was cool to see, and I really liked that a lot. And then of course. What else did I read? Because I'm trying not to give too much away because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. Again, Thunder Knock Studios is the name of the YouTube channel. Head over there. Halloween Night is the name of the fan film. So just YouTube Halloween Night fan film, and it'll pop up. The trailer will pop up as well. If you haven't seen it, watch the trailer first and then watch the movie, because you can do both back to back now. It's well put together. I mean, it is. It's well paced, well edited. The acting is I mean, there's certain actors that are better than others, but certainly everybody is at minimum serviceable, which is good. There are stronger performances from some. There's a few times where there's a few shots where to me, and maybe it's because I deal with sound all the time. There's a few moments where it's a little obvious that it's ADR. So there's some moments where like some sound effects don't sound like they're in the environment of where the person is. It sounds like it's been added. There's a few moments, of course, where I can tell that there's some ADR with the voices, but it doesn't, like, it's something I notice. The average person may not notice it. It's something I notice, obviously, but it doesn't like take me out of it. It's not like, oh, well, fuck this, fuck that, turn it off, shut it off, it's crap. No, it's not that way at all. Just certain little things, right, where you notice and things like that. Like when you had the keys and you're trying to open the door. Now, maybe it's not ADR. Maybe you didn't put that in there at all, but it sounded like it. It didn't sound like the keys were in the same environment as your character. So just little things like that I noticed throughout a bit. There were there's some dark scenes. I don't know if it could be the compression. It could be the compression of YouTube as well, because when it gets darker in the dark scenes, there's some digital artifacts that pop up, but that could be the compression. If I was to watch the raw file on your computer, it could be seamless, right? Because YouTube does that sometimes, depending on which file you're uploading, it'll compress it. And sometimes it's really hard to get a real pristine, clean thing with, YouTube. So I don't fault you for that, because that could be out of your control. But little things like that where I'm kind of like, some stuff but overall I enjoyed. I personally would not have shown the shape as clearly as in some moments you did in the movie. I would have kept him in shadow most of the film and then revealed him maybe towards the climax, when the climax is happening, right? When he's prior to you showing up, right? That's when we get real good looks at him, but it's sort of in darkness, right? Just little things like that. I would have done a bit different, but it doesn't ruin it for me. It's not like I'm like, oh, well, fuck it. Just creative choices that I would have done a bit different. But overall, you've done a great job. And everybody in the movie should be really proud of themselves, because it ain't easy making movies, man. And as you know, it ain't easy making independent films. It really isn't. And, everybody should be proud of themselves, should pat themselves in the back and say, you know what, we did good, because you did do good. And the effort shows. There's a lot of effort that was put into this, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, time and money that was put into this. And I want everybody here to go and support it, watch it, make up your own mind. You don't have to like it, right? You know, JP's not, you know, we all hope that people like the things we do, but it's not a prerequisite, right? Everybody has different tastes and things like that. But definitely go over, give it a watch, give it a support, give it some support, give it a watch, and let them know what you think, right? And because that's what it's all about, you know, whether you're working at the independent level or the studio level, you know, the goal is you create something, you put it out there for the world to see, and then you let the chips fall where they may. We ultimately have no control over how well or not well a film is received, no matter what level it is. So, but yeah, I mean, really good job. Like, there's some really nice moments in there. Really great camera work. The cinematography is really solid. I think some of my favorite cinematography actually from the movie work, I mean, like is the opening, you know, not just the drone shot. I mean, the drone shots, you know, okay, but when we dive into the warehouse and how you, and part of this comes with the editing as well, but how you connected those shots in the warehouse as your character is listening to the music, and how we're able to sort of, I kind of got that John Carpenter's Christine vibe, like the opening of Christine, right? How it opens like in the chop shop, not the chop shop, in the you know, the car, build the car, right? You know, why am I drawing a blank on what the name of that, the car shop, whatever it is. Somebody will be like, it's this shop, something like that. Like, it kind of got that vibe a bit, right? You know, and love the way that was put together. Love the cheesiness of the character that shows up to talk to you. Like the, yeah, like there's just like, again, like when the little girl is looking at Myers and he's on the porch, and I'm not really, you know, giving anything away. Just, I think we see him it's a little too brightly lit for my taste, but that it doesn't ruin the movie or anything. It's just a creative choice I wouldn't have made. But the overall film is really good, really solid. It was fun to watch, and it's paced well. That's what you guys will find, is that it's paced really well, in the sense that you, it's paced really well. It's edited really well. I'm not bored through any of it. And it feels like I'm watching a movie, you know, which is great, you know, and that's, I give you guys a solid, I mean, yes, solid marks. I mean, it's really well done, and I'm impressed, and I think you've done a great job, and I think you should be proud of yourselves. And I'll be curious to know if there's ever going to be a part 2. Ooh, part 2. So yeah, folks, go and check out JP's Stefano. Am I saying that right? I think it's right. I always get that mixed up. JP Stefano, I think. JP DeStefano. Go check it out. Thunder Knock Studios. You know what? I'm going to put a link right now in the chat room. Here's the link to the movie. If you want to check out the trailer first, go to the channel. But here's the link to the movie. There you go, guys. That's the link to the movie right there. Check it out. They used all of the soundtrack from Halloween 2018 and the end credits. I'm not going to tell you what piece of music they ended with there, but I really like that choice, because that's one of my favorites by John Carpenter right now. That's really, really good. Really, really good stuff. So yeah, go and support this really cool fan film with the production value is just solid, and it was fun to watch, man. I think you guys will really enjoy it. I think you guys really will. Let's see here. And any questions about that, or my thoughts on the I don't know if anybody from the crew or the production is watching, but if they are, I'm just seeing all these. We got 169 people in the room here. There could be some people watching. If you got questions for me, feel free to ask. I mean, that's what this is all about. We're having a all Halloween Q&A today. Why, you ask? Well, not just because I wanted to give my sort of general consensus thoughts on Halloween night, but also because it's my 31st show. It's my 31st show. So of course, naturally, we had to have some Halloween talk on my 31st show. Naturally. So let me see here. Let me see. What's everybody got? Thank you. Aaron White says thank you. Marshall McRae. Leo, I wasn't sure what he was going on about. Oh, I guess you guys are talking about somebody being a troll or something? I don't know. Oh, wait. Oh, Leo. Let me see. Oh, I see what he did. Oh, Leo. Oh, well, that's going to get you blocked, Leo. No, there you go. Leo is blocked. Probably Devontae Huntley pretending to be somebody else as he naturally does and has no life. Hey, yes. What do we got here? Aaron White says, would you call Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 a big budget fan film since it goes in its own direction? Well, no, because I don't know, because it's backed by a studio. So, I mean, anytime there's a studio release, it's not a fan film because it's officially, like at that time, it was officially canon. It's official. It's an official film. So it's not a fan film. Fan films are essentially, relegated to the category. They're unofficial sequels, right? They're what ifs. They're imagine this. Hey, here's a thought, and they're not endorsed or condoned by the studios that own the IP. So it's I get what you're saying. Like, I know I get what you're saying, but no, I mean, really, it's not. It's an official film, just a different take on it, right? Just a different take on it. Let me see. Slash to open says, do you know if Halloween 1978 was well received when it first came out, or was it panned? It wasn't panned, but it was actually. It was. I'm not gonna say panned. It had slow momentum. When it was first released, it wasn't an immediate success because movies back then played in the theaters for a lot longer. And Halloween wasn't released it was an independent film, right? So it's not like it was released like movies today, where you release a movie, if it's a studio film that's got some weight behind it, it'll release in like 3,000 theaters. That's not what happened with Halloween. Halloween released, I think, might have released in a theater or two in New York or something, and a couple theaters in LA or something. It kind of just, it was released in like 3 theaters and then 6 theaters and then 15 theaters and then 30 theaters as the demand grew. But not everybody liked it. And it wasn't until, like, when it was released in October of 1978, it wasn't an immediate hit. It wasn't until, I think, the following spring or something like that, by the time it had really gained momentum and a following and people were starting to see it. It wasn't until 1979, let's just put it that way, that the film actually began to sort of get a little bit of cred behind it. So no, it wasn't. There were some people that didn't like it. It wasn't an immediate hit. I do know I have some super chats here. Don't worry, I have not forgot about them. There are some that came in. Super chat from Sucks Films. Thanks, buddy. Says, hey, Dave, if you were to be cast in a slasher film, what stereotype would you like to play? The nerd, the jock? I see you as a good dumb blonde. Well, I think between the nerd and the jock, I think I would do better as the jock, just because if I do the nerd, I would be doing like a caricature version of a nerd, because I don't look I don't sound like a nerd. It would be like a cartoon version, like, hey man, it wouldn't be authentic, right? So I think between those two, it would be more authentic to be the jock. But then again, I'm also not like, 6 foot blonde and 25 and, chiseled and, it's I'm not that either. So it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe I could just be just a dude, just a guy hanging out, sitting on the toilet during the COVID-19. Jack Carter says, Dave, why did you get rid of your H78 masks? Well, I didn't get rid of all of them. I have one back there. I had 3. Wait a minute here. Let me go over to this. That one right there is an H78. No, it's not an H78. It's an MMK actually. But it's a 1978 Halloween Myers mask. I sold them a few years ago because why did I sell them now? I think I just had them for so long, and I had 3 of them, and I was just like, you know what, maybe I'm going to give them to somebody else. It was just that kind of thing, really, at the end of the day. And a couple people caught them here or a couple people, no, I sent one to somebody in the States, and then somebody here in Toronto got one as well. So that's why. No real reason, really, at the end of the day. I see we're a lot of Eric Cars, are you behaving yourself, Eric? What's going on here? Well, that's what the moderators are there for, Eric. So moderators are there. I'll let that one go for a while, see what happens. But my moderators are on it. They're on it. They're on it, which is good. But yeah, that's why. Other super chat was Mark Warling. Thanks, buddy. Says, I hope we get to see Halloween Kills in October. Hope everyone is prepared for the COVID-19. Praying for everyone. You're great, Dave. Love Halloween. Thank you very much, Mark. You as well. And I think Halloween Kills is okay at the moment. Let's not forget that it is October. The release for Halloween Kills is October. It is done, signed, sealed, and delivered, essentially. Halloween Kills release will probably be okay. I'm looking up there, so I still think I'm up there. Halloween Kills will probably be okay. Halloween Ends, on the other hand, is likely to get pushed. And not necessarily its release date, because its release date's not till October 2021. But according to Jason Blum, they had planned to shoot Halloween Ends in the next couple of months. So my guess is probably, May, maybe June. I don't know. That is likely to be pushed. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't make their 2021 October release date, because you could probably still shoot this movie this fall or January and still make the release date. But the production start of Halloween Ends will probably be pushed, and we're dealing with it too. I mean, my buddy and I, Bruce, obviously, we were going to head up to a location to see this weekend. That will probably have to be put on hold, and we were going to launch our Indiegogo campaign. We were aiming to do it next month. That may have to be pushed till May. We're sort of monitoring the situation day by day here. And now with It's Me, Billy, we were planning on going to camera in November. That still might be able to happen. But depending on what happens over the next, few weeks and months, that may have to be pushed as well. Because obviously we can't shoot this thing without a successful Indiegogo campaign. So that's also really important as well. Just a reminder as well, folks, when we do launch our Indiegogo campaign for It's Me, Billy, we need your support. Now, if you want to see this movie come to life, we definitely need your help. But there'll be more updates. And I'm also going to have Bruce on the show either Thursday or Friday. And we'll be talking all about this and how it's affecting the film industry. And we'll be talking It's Me, Billy as well. So there'll be more updates on that towards the end of the week. But yeah, it's sort of a day-by-day thing right now as we monitor the situation. Let's see here. Mr. No Name says, David Green, Michael, hands down, he sold way more tickets. I see you guys talking amongst. That's great. See, this is what I mean. I love when we get this many people in the chat room, because there's a community that's built. You guys are talking to each other, and that's what I absolutely love. I love seeing that kind of stuff. Justin Avery says, hi, Dave. You think Lindsay or Tommy will die in Halloween Kills? I think one of them is going to die before the end of Halloween Ends. I just can't see Brackett, Marion, Lindsay, Tom, like everybody getting out alive. I don't know. You got to add some weight. You got to add some bottom. You got to raise the stakes a little bit, right? You got to do it. You got to do it. I think Lindsay will go before Tommy, personally. Emil Bjorklund, thank you very much, buddy. Says, hey, Dave, what's your top 5 favorite movies from the big 3? My favorite are Nightmare on Elm Street 1, Halloween 78, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Nightmare on Elm Street wait a minute. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is 3. Nightmare on Elm Street 1 is 4. Friday 4, 5. Oh, I see what you did there. My top 5 favorites from the big 3. Well, Halloween 1 is my favorite. Probably followed by Nightmare on Elm Street at 2. Probably followed by Friday the 13th at 3. Probably followed by Elm Street 2 at 4. Probably followed by, I would say... No, I'd go back. I'd go Halloween is the first one, followed by Elm Street 1, followed by Halloween 2, then the original Friday the 13th, and then probably Elm Street 2. I would say that's probably off the top of my head. I mean, that may change, but that's where I would put it sort of off the top of my head. Kenzo Rome says, hey, Dave, I never understood the reason Loomis gave Brackett about not altering the media to Michael's presence. Any thoughts? Well, I think he just didn't want to create mass hysteria, kind of like what's going on now with COVID-19. He didn't want to do that because, he didn't want to unnecessarily panic everybody and cause people to make decisions and choices that would put themselves in even more danger, right? Michael can only be at one place at once. So if we can find Michael, we can isolate him, then the rest of the town is safe, right? It's not like a disease, right? So I think it has more to do with that. Like, don't notify the your men yet, don't, or not your men because he did, but don't, the TV networks and the news and all that, because they're just going to create this hysteria. And like he said, people are going to see him on every street corner. They're going to look for him in every house, right? Just tell your men to keep their eyes shut and I always get that wrong. Their mouths shut and their eyes open. That line, they'll see him on every street corner. What that means is, because of the hysteria that's created, they're going to look out their windows, and every dark shadow they see, they're going to think it's him, because they're panicking now, right? When it's not. It's a leaf, or it's their neighbor Ted taking out the garbage. You know what I mean? And that's what he didn't want to create, because if you create this mass hysteria, then you sort of begin to lose the control, and that's what that's about. That's what that's about. It's actually a very good line and makes sense. Cavern of Terror sends in a super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says Halloween Ends is released. What's next? Personally, I would start reboot requel in Haddonfield, but I would use black magic. Yes, literally conjure him. He's a man, but he's only back for one night. What's next? I would say nothing. I would say let it go for a while. Let this story of Halloween marinate for a bit. There's no rush. There's no and again, I'm the artist talking here. I mean, obviously, if I was to put on my business hat, and if Halloween Ends makes $200 million at the box office, well, the immediate thought is, let's bring him back. And it's like, fuck. But realistically, I mean, personally, I think you just let it marinate for a bit. I don't think there's any rush to reboot, requel, anything. Just let it go for a while. But I mean, look, will there be more Halloween films after Halloween Ends? Well, I mean, the box office will largely dictate that, but yes, more than likely. I just hope that this story of Michael Myers comes to an end. It needs to die. It needs to end. It has to be over. The version connected to the original 1978 film, just let it go. There's nothing wrong with films ending. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. Stories have ends. They must have ends to give value to the journey. There must be an end to a story, a real end to a story. It gives value to the story. It gives value to the journey. It gives a whole point to everything. If things just go on indefinitely, well, what's gonna happen with the series. I'm telling you right now, and you can scoff at this if you want, but I'm telling you right now, if Blumhouse thinks they can get 9 more good sequels out of this current timeline, I can't take you seriously. You'll find yourself right back where you started. They negated all of the sequels because they fucked up. So why the hell are you going to go off and make 9 more? I mean, it just is, money. Of course, yes, naturally. But I just have no interest in that. So I just think Halloween Ends should be the end of it. The end of Halloween as we know it. And then you explore other options after that. Is it about Michael? Is it anthology route in terms of utilizing stories within the Halloween universe, like Season of the Witch, maybe old Charlie Bowles and his hacksaw, and things like that, but the story of Michael as we know it, it's got to come to an end, man. It does, in my opinion, anyway. Okay, let me just make sure I didn't miss any super chats here. The last one came in was from Cavern of Terror. Okay, good. Just want to make sure I did not miss anything. We got, look at that. Wait, what's going on here? Let's go back to my own. I skipped out of my own thing there. There we go. 207 people watching. Great. And reminder, folks, check out JP DeStefano's new Halloween fan film, Halloween Night, which is just, let me just get the link again. I'm going to put the link in the chat room and check it out. Give some support to this. I think you guys will really like it. There's some good stuff in there. There's some creative choices that I would have done a bit differently, but overall, it's a solid film. It was fun to watch. And my hat goes off to everybody involved. It was really, really, really cool. So here's the link here. There it is to the Halloween Night. Head over there to Thunder Knock Studios YouTube channel and give some support. Watch the movie and let them know what you think. I think you guys will like it. I think you guys will really appreciate the effort and the production value that they put forward in this. It's really solid. Jordan Ellis says, "Hey Dave, would you ever try and make a Halloween fan film one day that takes place after the 2018 film? I'd like to see your ideas." If I was to do a Halloween, because fan films have continued to grow in quality and in impact. I started making Halloween fan films when virtually was no Halloween fan. Not that there weren't any, okay? There were, because I can hear some, I made one in 2006. Yeah, I know. I mean, there are people, I mean, you know. But my first Halloween fan film was something called Halloween Lurking. And it was released, like, you know, it was uploaded in 2009, okay? 2009. And it was just me, POV, walking into my house at the time. That's where I lived at the time. I don't live there anymore. Walked in there and doing a little thing just because I wanted to showcase Cemetery Gate Productions' Fear Mask. And since then, that was really well received. And I just shot that on just a home camcorder. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a bunch more to show what you can do with nothing, just to show what you can do at your disposal. They weren't serious films. They were just kind of like what you could do with just a camcorder and a basic understanding of lighting and, you know, camera technique and all that kind of stuff. And they were fun to do. They're fun to, of course, you know, you look at them now and I think they're like, you know, 480 or 460p or 280 or 240p or whatever. Because obviously, you know, you upload it in 2009, uploading something in like, you know, 360p or whatever the hell we were uploading was amazing. You know what I mean? Of course, now since HD, it's a bit different. But and then when I did Halloween the Night He Came Back, that was taken up a level, but it was still fun. I just wanted to have fun with it. I put a little money into it. We were just kind of having fun creating this mood and atmosphere, and I got to shoot at the original locations and stuff. But fan films, even since then, which was 2016, have become a real serious thing now. And that's largely thanks to Never Hike Alone. And now Never Hike Alone has set the bar very high. And I can only imagine that Never Hike in the Snow, which is just wrapped production, which is the prequel to Never Hike Alone, is going to take it even higher. And then, of course, we got Dylan's New Nightmare as well. And then, so I knew when I was going to enter the fan film space, like I said earlier, again, I knew that I would, this is what I'm competing with now. So we have to take it up a notch. And working in the film industry here in Toronto and having access to the resources that we do, we wanted to take it to that level. So that's why we're really excited about It's Me, Billy. So to answer your question, if I was going to do another Halloween fan film, I would have to do it like that. I can't go back to what I was doing before. It would have to be taken up, you know, because the bar is being set. I mean, even Halloween Night, you know, has set a bar, right? You know what I mean? So there's certain things that you gotta, you know, you gotta raise each other's bars, right? You know? And so I never say no, but I'm very tapped out with Halloween. Like I would one of the reasons why I chose Black Christmas was because nobody's doing it. And it's still a niche-y sort of cult film. It's a Canadian movie shot right here in Toronto, the original from 1974. And I just saw such a wonderful opportunity to extend that story. So I never say never to doing a Halloween fan film again, and certainly maybe a sequel to 2018, because I did do that concept idea that's on my channel, right? I uploaded a video where I was talking for about 2 hours and I had sound effects and all that kind of shit, walking you through a concept idea I had for a sequel to Halloween 2018. But that concept alone would cost an arm and a leg. I mean, you listen to that concept, it's like, yeah, this is like a $4 million picture. I mean, this is huge. You know what I mean? So, and of course you start raising that kind of money for fan films and the studios are going to be like, I don't think so. You can raise, you know, 50, 60, maybe even $100,000 for a fan film, maybe, but you start raising into the millions and the studios are probably going to shut you down, you know? So, but anyway, yeah. So, never say never. You never say never, but definitely I know that if I was to ever tackle the fan film, like on a serious level, I mean, it doesn't mean I don't shoot my own little thing around here where I'm just, you know, walking around in my mask or something, right? Which I have, you know, a few of those on my channel. But if I was ever to tackle a serious Halloween fan film, I mean, because the bar has been raised, you know, by Never Hike Alone, by, you know, Halloween Night, by Never Hike in the Snow, by the Child's Play one that's going to come out called Charles. You know what I mean? I mean, these things they're constantly, you know, so you gotta, you know what I mean? And that's why with It's Me, Billy, like we're neck deep in this. Like we're really excited about this. And hopefully this COVID-19 thing doesn't derail us too much here. Let's see here. Aaron White says, so excited for Dylan's new Nightmare. Wes Craven's new Nightmare was my first. I'm really excited too. Now, I haven't heard anything from Cecil yet. Maybe he's watching. I'm not sure. And you don't have to answer this now, Cecil. You can talk to me privately, of course. But I'm scheduled to fly to Phoenix on the 25th of May. That's the schedule. Now, we're still about 9 weeks away from that. Anything can change in 9 weeks. It's still just kind of the middle of March now. So it's entirely possible that come the 25th of May, we'll be sort of, we'll be okay. But maybe we won't be, and maybe things will have to be pushed even with that. I mean, this is the reality that productions are facing now, whether you are a Hollywood film or an independent film. We are all sort of faced with kind of, what are we going to do here in terms of being able to push productions? And of course, money, that costs money. So I'm not sure what Cecil's thinking about, but certainly I have no doubt it's on his mind. I mean, if it's on my mind with It's Me, Billy, and we're still months away, it's no doubt on his mind. So right now the plan is to fly to Phoenix, but on the 25th of May. But we'll see as we get closer. And of course, if Canada shuts down the borders, which they have, not to the US yet. See, Canada and the US, I think we can still go to each other's countries, but both of our countries have shut down our borders to everybody else. Well, if we shut down our borders to each other soon, then I can't go anywhere. So it's interesting, but fingers crossed, man. But I'm really excited to play Freddy in that movie. So hopefully things will work. Do you change anything about the ending or the entire money? Or the entire money? In the Halloween 2018 movie, at the ending of the movie, would you change anything about the ending or the entire, do you mean movie? The entire movie? Well, there's a lot of things in Halloween 2018 that I would change and do differently. I mean, I don't really know off the top of my head to really dive into it, but just little things like, for example, just little things like when Laurie says, "Happy Halloween, Michael," and she comes out of the claws in I just didn't like that. It felt too chintzy and cheesy. Because she comes, it looked digitally done. It was very weird. She kind of comes out and goes, "Happy Halloween, Michael," and then attacks him. I think it would have been less cheesy for me. I'm only talking for me. I'm sure there's some people that thought it was fan-fucking-tastic. But for me, it would have been less cheesy for me if maybe we had heard her say that from the darkness. So you hear, "Happy Halloween, Michael," but we don't see her yet, and then she comes out and attacks him. That would have worked better for me, rather than kind of her going, bloop, "Happy Halloween, Michael," and then it just seemed cheesy to me. Little things like that. But there's a lot of things that I would have done differently. But there's some things in that movie they did do okay, which what makes the things they didn't do well that much more frustrating for me anyway. Let me see. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats here. No, Cavern of Terror was the last one. Okay, good. Don't want to miss those super chats. Hey, great stuff to see everybody in here. If you're joining us, 213 people in the room. Great to see everybody here on this 31st episode of McRae Live. I thought, why not talk Halloween? Robert Thidoff says, "What's up, Dave? Have to work from home the next 3 weeks. Quarantine in Ohio, pretty much. Stay safe. Stay safe, everybody." Slashed Open says, "What horror movie do you think could actually benefit from a TV show, if any?" Well, I think, see, it's always hard to go from theatrical to television. When we say television, we include streaming in that. It's very difficult to go because it's the scale. However, I do think a Elm Street series might be able to benefit from going to streaming. I think you have more time to develop characters. I think you have more time to really build, well, and it's like this with any show, really. You have more time to develop characters, and you have more time to develop suspense and nuance. And you really can have people get emotionally attached to these characters' journeys. I'm not saying you can't do that in a movie. Of course you can. It's been done all the time. But with television and streaming, I would be very interested in seeing an Elm Street show. Something that is scary and frightening, but, yeah, just something. I'd be open to ideas. I think Cecil Laird and I talk about that on I think it was episode 9 of McRae Live, where I interview Cecil Laird. We talk about Freddy and all that, and we hammered out a few ideas of how that could be possible. You might want to go check out that episode. But it's interesting. I think Elm Street could. Friday the 13th, no. Friday the 13th, no, because Friday the 13th it's too repetitive, it's too redundant. Last night on Two Dudes and Some Bullshit, somebody asked, "What's one horror series from the big 3, I think, that you could binge watch? You know, like if you only had to binge watch one, like you're on an island or something, you binge watch. What would it be?" And I think naturally, because I'm such a Halloween fan, people expect me to say Halloween for everything, and I said I wouldn't be Halloween. That's not. I don't find the Halloween series very binge watchable. Friday the 13th I do. And the reason why I find Friday the 13th binge watchable is because it's kind of like a movie you can kind of, you can kind of check out and kind of just, yeah, it's just there. It's just because it's the same shit all the time. And it's just like a new group of people come to the camp. A new group of people come to the camp. A new group of people come to the camp. And you're just watching it to see, like it's like having the same piece of cake all, like what it is, what it tastes like, but it's good cake. But by the 7th or 8th piece, it does kind of start to wear off a little bit, part 7 and 8, right? But I find the Friday the 13th films very binge watchable. Elm Street would be next, I think. Halloween, not so much. Halloween, I don't find very binge watchable to me anyway. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, in terms of series, I think Elm Street's probably your likely choice anyway. Brooke Louie says, "Oh, and I just got back from the store. The entire cereal aisle was empty along with..." Oh my God. I know. People are losing their shit. It's a great sociological experiment. I'll tell you that. What are people going to do? And it's, it's not a shitting disease, people. It's a respiratory, you can still have the cold and send your friend out who doesn't have it to go and get you toilet paper if you need it. You don't need to stock up on, really, you don't. Like, you really don't. Nobody needs to stock up on 15 packages of toilet paper. You don't need to do that. You don't. Ludicrous. Jason Lemison says, "Do you think Halloween Kills will have too many Easter eggs and kind of ruin the mood? I want Halloween Kills to be its own movie and not pay respects to the older Halloween movies too much. Or too much. Well, it's definitely going to have Easter eggs. I mean, we already know that by the fact that Haddonfield Memorial Hospital is in the movie with the exact same Haddonfield Memorial logo. And that doesn't need to be there because Halloween Memorial Hospital with that logo was not introduced until Halloween 2 from 1981. And in this new timeline, Halloween 2 from 1981 does not exist. That never happened. That story never, ever, ever happened in this new timeline. So you could, in theory, call the hospital in Halloween Kills whatever you want to call it. Haddonfield Centennial Hospital, Haddonfield Hospital, Haddonfield St. Vincent Hospital. You could call it anything. You don't have to call it Haddonfield Memorial at all because that name was not introduced in the first movie. And you certainly don't have to have that logo because nobody saw that logo until a movie that you now say doesn't exist. So that right there is fan service. So there's no doubt there's going to be fan service in the movie for sure. I don't know if there'll be too much. All I know is that I think it's safe to say, and I said this just by the release of the title, that this will be a darker, more visceral, intense, bloodier, higher body count film. It just will be. And I haven't seen the test screening, obviously, but I said that months ago before there ever was one, just based on the fact that, okay, you announce 2 more films. The second chapter is called Halloween Kills. This is going to act sort of like a trilogy, even though it's technically a quadrilogy. These new films are going to be sort of their own kind of thing. Yeah, this is going to be a dark film. And it's going to end. The one thing that I find sort of, and again, it's all in the execution. But the one thing I find interesting is Jason Blum said that Halloween Kills will not end on a cliffhanger. It won't end on a, oh no, it'll end like, on its own kind of thing so it can stand on its own. And part of me, when I read that, part of me was like, yeah, but why? Like, why wouldn't you end it on a cliffhanger? I mean, it doesn't have to be a literal, kind of like it cuts to black on a moment where it's like, oh, but there still needs to be like you have another movie. Like if you weren't going to have another movie and Halloween Kills was going to be the end of Halloween as we know it, well, then I would say, well, yeah, of course you have to wrap it up. You got, of course, you don't end it on a cliffhanger. Of course not. But the fact that you have another movie coming, I almost sort of want it to end on oh shit. Oh man. Fuck. Now I got to wait a year. Oh, okay. All right. Cause that's exciting to me, right? There's that level of anticipation that you build. So I thought it was kind of I get what he's saying in principle, but I thought it was kind of strange at the same time because I was like, well, but don't you want it to end with kind of like oh shit. Oh, all right. Gonna have to wait. Oh man, this is okay. Got a whole year to build this up now. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I want. I don't want it to end sort of like like I can watch it on its own merits. I don't want Halloween Kills to end. And it should. I don't think this is what he means at all. I really don't. But I don't want it to end in the sense of where, I don't need to watch any more films. No, you want to leave, you want to dangle the carrot, right? That's how I kind of feel about it anyway. But it's interesting. It is interesting nonetheless. Let's see. Voodoo Lee says 245 watching. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, 200. Yeah. Oh, now down 239. The highest I've ever had watching was 500 and something. It was a live stream I did where I was breaking down one of the behind the scenes videos the behind the scenes stuff last summer. Not last summer. It would have been in the fall because that's when they started shooting. It would have been like October or end of September, beginning of October. I did a live feed where I was breaking down the behind the scenes stuff live, and it was like like a Tuesday afternoon or something, and like this, and I had over 500 people. It eclipsed the previous record that I had, which was 500 and something as well, with Bruce, my buddy Bruce, when they first dropped the first photos from Halloween 2018, like the one where he was in the closet and all that kind of stuff. And Bruce happened to be over at that time. This was like, I think May 2018 or something. And we jumped online and we had like 500 something watching. So I have hit 500. Pretty crazy stuff. Of course, I mean, if you have a bigger channel, you can hit into the thousands, but 250 people watching right now is pretty good for a Tuesday afternoon. But I tell you, anytime I talk Halloween, people just go crazy. Let's talk Halloween. I want Halloween. McRae's talking Halloween. I could talk about something completely different than like, I don't give a shit about McRae. I only give a fuck. I only give a fuck about you, McRae, when you talk Halloween. You're not talking Halloween? I don't care. I'm not tuning in. Why the fuck would I tune in? Yeah. Well, you think I like you? You think I like you, McRae? You think I just want to tune in when you're talking about anything? I don't want that. I just want Halloween. I want Halloween, man. I want Halloween. Oh, man. The Film Addict says, hey, Dave, which character from the Halloween franchise is the worst? For me, it's Tina. She makes me want to jump off a roof. Or a roof, depending on where you are. I never understand that. Roof. Dog's roof. The worst character in the Halloween franchise. I don't think it's Tina. I think it's probably the worst character in the Halloween franchise. That's a good one. I would probably say probably Busta Rhymes. I would say is probably up there. I gotta say, I think he's up there.
Trick or treat, motherfucker!
Yeah, I think that's it. That's one more time for Busta.
Trick or treat, motherfucker!
That's not Busta Rhymes. That's actually me doing that. But yeah, that's. I would say that. I would say it's him. Busta Rhymes. Gotta be. Jason Nike says, I'm not the biggest Halloween fan, but I love chatting to all you great people. Yeah, I love it. I love when people come into the chat room and we're all talking with each other and shooting the shit, talking Halloween. I love it. I love you guys. You guys are great. I love talking Halloween with you guys. It's absolutely fantastic. Hybrid Articulation. Ooh, I love that name. Tyra Banks was worse, honestly. I don't know about that. I think she was bad, but I still think, she didn't drop kick Michael through a window and say trick or treat, motherfucker, and saying like crispy, what the hell does he say to him, like your fried crispy chicken, Michael, or something like that, or whatever. I still think I give the edge to Busta Rhymes times there. I'm just saying. Mike Johnson says, I wish I could pinpoint what it is about the Halloween franchise has got me hooked. I love Halloween movies almost more than anything. Watch them just makes me happy. Well, I think, again, I mean, this isn't an exact science, but I think if you want to have some fun, I think one of the reasons why people love the Halloween franchise so much is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's in the pop culture more so than Freddy and Jason have been. You've heard me say this 1,000 times, and it's true. Michael was MIA in the 1980s. Okay, I was a young boy growing up through the 1980s. Michael was virtually non-existent, and the large reason for that was because there were no Michael Myers films between 1981 and 1988. Okay, and in that time, it was Jason and Freddy. Freddy and Jason were tearing it up at the box office. Freddy and Jason were the quintessential horror icons of the 1980s. Nobody gave a fuck about Michael because he wasn't around. Michael was dead, right? And then Michael came back in 1988. But by 1988, the slasher genre was beginning its downslope. Like the prime real estate, the prime years for the slasher genre is 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. By the time you get to 87, the slasher genre is beginning to take that dip. Now, I'm not saying it's down here, but it's beginning its descent. It's beginning its descent, right? Like it hasn't landed in the airport yet, but the captain has come on and said, we've started our descent, and you kind of feel the plane kind of lowering a bit, right? That's sort of what's happening in 88 by the time the return of Michael Myers comes. And then in 89, I mean, by the time the return of Michael Myers hits the theaters, Freddy and Jason are already dishing out arguably the worst in their franchises, right? So it's kind of arguably, I mean, Dream Master is not the worst, but they're starting to dish out stuff that's not very good, right? In my opinion. So, and then of course by 1989, The Revenge of Michael Myers, like what the fuck is this? And if you were a kid growing up in the 80s and you dressed up as Michael, people thought you were Jason, right? I mean, there are people in this chat that totally understand what I'm talking about there because Michael was just non-existent. But Michael came back in 1998 with a vengeance. And it was because Jamie Lee Curtis was back, but it was because there was a resurgence in the slasher genre. And Halloween H2O is a lot of people's first introduction to Halloween. A lot of people have a very nostalgic, emotional attachment to Halloween H2O. I don't. I don't think it's a very good movie at all. But certainly there are a lot of people that do. And because Scream revitalized the slasher genre, and there was sort of a last sort of push, a last resurgence in the late 90s, it propelled Halloween back into the pop culture. And then of course Halloween, so then for better or worse, Resurrection, Rob Zombies 1, Rob Zombies 2, for better or worse. And then of course there was these 25th anniversary, 30th anniversary conventions and things like that. Michael was in the pop culture, and and so there's that. And although Freddy, I know there was Freddy versus Jason in 2003, I understand that, but Freddy tried to come back in 2010, was unsuccessful. Jason tried to come back in 2009, was relatively unsuccessful. And Michael has just been there. He's been a constant because of the fire that was lit in 1998. Also, so that's one factor. Another factor is that Michael Myers, there's a mystery surrounding his character that is just cool. That he has a cool factor that Freddy doesn't have. He has a cool factor that Jason doesn't have. He has an unknown factor that is mysterious and interesting. And we're all fascinated by the unknown and the mysteries of things and what makes something tick or somebody tick or true crime. And, we're all fascinated by that stuff. We largely know why Freddy did what he did. I mean, we don't 100% know the details, but we know that he was a filthy child murderer named Fred Krueger, and we know that he died in a boy. Like, we know about his backstory. We know, there's Jason. He was a simple kid who couldn't swim very well, who drowned in the lake, who saw the cut off the head and the mice saw that. Like, we know his backstory. We essentially know why Jason does what he does. We essentially know why Freddy does what he does. But we don't know why Michael does what he does. We have no idea. We know why Chucky does what he does. We know. We know why he does what he does because it's revealed. We still there? Yeah, we're still there. Sorry about that, guys. A bit of a hiccup there. There's a certain mystique and a certain enigma that surrounds the character of Myers that is fascinating to play with, and to watch his movements and to watch it all unfold. And that's a big part of it as well, right? We're enamored with the unknown factor of the shape. Now, again, this is not a hard science. But these are things that I think contribute to Michael, at least for now, being much more popular than Freddy and Jason. But do not think that Freddy and Jason are not just, let's not forget, they are the former undisputed heavyweight champions of horror. Let's just not forget that. They could make a comeback with a vengeance and put Michael on his ass. I'm just saying, it's entirely possible. You never know. Okay, let me go back. Okay, no, did not miss any super chats. Want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Let me see. Great, 239 people watching. Sean Gilling says, seeing as to it you played Myers in arguably the greatest Halloween fan films we've been blessed with. Oh, well, I wouldn't go that far. What are your awesome thoughts on Halloween Night's Michael Myers? Well, I was just talking about that, actually. I really enjoy. I thought I did a good job. There was one shot in Halloween, and again, I don't want to give any spoilers away, because I don't want to put any preconceived ideas into your head before you've had a chance to watch it. That's why I gave sort of a general consensus, because I just didn't want to do that. But I will say that there are many moments in Halloween Night that I really like, and many moments with the shape that I really like. There's one moment with the shape that I don't particularly like. I don't want to give it away because you may watch it and like it and love it. So I don't want to put any, there's one moment where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I would have had him do that. But overall, I mean, again, it's a solid fan film, and it's well put together, and it's great. I mean, my fan films were just, going out, having some fun, and, just kind of seeing what you can do with, this one is they put a lot more money into it, a lot more resources into it. Yeah. And it's great. I mean, this is, I can't say how much I am happy with the effort, and I support this kind of thing so much, because, like I said, making movies is tough, man. And seeing these guys put something together and look, I guarantee you, and I don't want to put words into JP's mouth, but I can guarantee you, being a creative, I can absolutely say that there are things that he sees in the movie that he probably goes, I should have done that. I should have done this, or I should have done that, because that just naturally happens, right? But overall, it's a solid fan film, and I think you guys need to watch it. Halloween Night over on Thunderknock Studios YouTube page, because it's really well put together. But again, I want to be I don't want to give anything away, because I want you guys to judge it for yourself. That's really important for me. Really important for me. Jonathan Peterson says, hey Dave, do you think this new Halloween trilogy will have the grandfather and Dark Knight effect? You mean the Godfather? I think you mean the Godfather, the grandfather. The Godfather and Dark Knight effect. The second film is the best. The third is the worst. Well, maybe. I think, horror trilogies are, I don't know. I think just process statistically as we move along in, in series, naturally, the more you make, the worse they're going to get. So I just kind of think that that's sort of what is probably going to happen there. The third installment in trilogies is always difficult to wrap up. It's always tough. It's always tough to stick the landing. So do I think there's a high probability that Halloween Ends will be not as enjoyable as Halloween Kills? Yeah, I think so, because you're ending it. And there are going to be people that are going to love the way you end it. There are going to be people that hate the way you end it, right? Everybody loves a good cliffhanger, because what happens in a cliffhanger is it's theater of the mind, right? So when you have a cliffhanger, and I understand that Halloween Kills is supposedly not going to have a cliffhanger, but when you when you end a movie and there's still more to tell, there's a theater of the mind aspect about that, right? When there's questions left unanswered, when there's, plot points left still to discover, when there's, characters' arcs that are still not complete, right? And you end the second chapter, the second act, where it's like, bum, 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 what's going to happen next? It usually pleases everybody or most people because everybody is now picturing their own version of what they want to happen or what they think should happen. So there's a theater of the mind aspect that takes place. Now it's the delivering on it that tends to divide people, because some people are going to watch Halloween Ends and be like, oh, that's totally exactly how I would have ended it. And then others are going to watch and be like, that fucking sucks. Lame. No. Dumb. That's not how I would have ended it. It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen, right? There's going to be some people that love the ending. There's going to be some people that don't like the ending. Whereas when you don't reveal anything, more people are likely to agree because they're all picturing their own version of what they think should happen. So it's more exciting that way, right? The anticipation is more exciting. So, I think there's a high probability that the third chapter will not be as enjoyed as much as the second one, just based on that. Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. Okay, just keep always looking over because sometimes super chats don't come in. I want to make sure I'm not missing them. EdRed7712 says, Dave, do you think Laurie's death will be brutal at the hands of Michael or a subtle send-off like the hospital or something? I don't think Laurie is going to die a brutal death. I don't think she's going to be stabbed or her head chopped off, and maybe she won't even die. I mean, we don't even know if they're going to kill her. I know there's a lot of people that want her to die, but maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. I don't think she's going to die a horrific death. No, like burned alive or, although that's how I offer in my sequel concept idea, but that's me because I have the balls to do that. I don't think they have the balls to do that. I think she will either die from injuries sustained in some sort of battle or, die off screen. And what I mean by that is like there's a massive explosion, or something, and so she died, but we don't see her die. There's no way we're going to see her like dying and her head chopped off or something like that. I don't think so anyway. But you never know, folks. You never know. 227 people still watching. It is episode 31 of McRae Live here. That's why I decided to do this. Of course, 31 talking Halloween today on McRae Live. That's why I decided to do that. Why the hell not? Holly Klein says, I think Karen will die. You might be right, Holly. You might be right. Karen may die. She may kick the bucket, folks. She may kick the bucket. Let me see. There's so many people watching. Let me see. Somebody I haven't talked to. Somebody that's asked a question that I've maybe never seen before. I don't know. Let me see here. I got Jonathan Peterson. Yeah. Here we go. Brendan Mercury says, what's the fan movie called? Oh, we're talking, the Halloween one's called Halloween Night, Night, Halloween Night. Head over to Thunder Knock Studios. You know what? I'm going to put it in the chat room again. There it is. I just put it in the chat room. A link to the movie in the chat room. Head over there and take a look. I think you guys will enjoy it. I think you will. Great effort, great production quality. And JP, my man, if you're watching, you did a hell of a job. I mean, he's a pretty good actor, man. He's a pretty good actor. I'm telling you. I believe it. I totally believe it. Totally believe it. Filthy Dan. Dan, what makes you so filthy? Why is Filthy Dan so filthy? That's what I want to know. Filthy Dan says, I can't believe McRae Live is already 31 episodes in. I know. I can't believe it either. I mean, listen, Two Dudes and Some Bullshit's only at 60. But that's because we only do the show once a week. I do this show 3 days a week. So I'll eventually, McRae Live will surpass Two Dudes. Yeah, hard to believe. Brooke Louie sends in a super chat. Oh, thank you so much, Brooke. Really appreciate that. She says, thank you for my trailer audio. Oh, right. I was over the moon excited that it was Halloween. I also wanted to thank you for your follow through and getting that out to me in no time. Thanks so much. No problem, Brooke. I really appreciate it. Well, thank you for becoming a level 3 patron. That's awesome. It's great to have you on board, and no problem at all. I'm glad you enjoyed that. That was fun to do. It's fun to do. Jacob Whiteley says, I think Michael will be very aggressive and vengeful in this sequel. I think so too. I think it's going to be a high body count, folks. I think you're going to see a high body count. I think you're going to see a lot more blood and guts. I think you will. I'm just saying. It's what I feel. It's what I feel. Brody C says, you need like your own radio show. Well, radio's a dying thing. That's why we have YouTube and podcasts and shows like this. Although I did work in radio years ago. For my summer job in the year 2000, it was after my first year of college. I was supposed to go to college actually in 98 or 97, but I didn't. But anyway, it was the summer after my first year of college, and I worked at a radio station in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I worked for the Team 1200. Any Canadians living in Ottawa watching me? Maybe somebody I went to high school with. Hey, how you guys doing? Good to see you again. Been a long time, hasn't it? It's been fucking a long time. I worked for the Team 1200 in Ottawa. I was answering phones and working the board and producing the morning show. Helping to produce the morning show, I should say. So that was a lot of fun. And I took radio in college. I had my own radio show in college back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And that was a lot of fun. So, but this is sort of the evolution of that. I mean, talk radio and radio sort of, it's still there, of course, but it's a dying breed, and it has been over the years. So people now are just doing this thing. So consider this your morning show every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Why not? Why not? And of course, if things get busy for me, eventually there will be weeks where I won't be able to do the show. Obviously, you guys will be notified of that before I do it. Drum Dums is in the house. That's my rendition of your opening theme. He says, I might give Halloween Night a watch tonight. No, you should. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it, Lee. I really think you will. Let's see here. Oh, and by the way, Lee, I keep forgetting to respond to you on Twitter about Hallowstream. I see it. I keep forgetting. I will do it today to let you know whether it's, I'll let you know. Sorry about that, man. Let's see. Jacob Whiteley says we might get Michael backstory to some, I hope not. I hope not. Jamie Lee Curtis said in an interview, and I said this, I've said this before, but when she was promoting Knives Out, she said that this next movie really deconstructs the trauma. She loves that word. Trauma of people who, of what happened in 1978. And I'm okay with that as long as they don't deconstruct Michael. Now, if they, again, you have Marion Chambers, who's going to be in this movie. Because she is, we see her at the beginning of the original film. She's working with Dr. Loomis. She might have some insight. We know that Michael was locked back up. We know that there is some time there before Dr. Loomis dies, right? I mean the whole 1980s and 1990s. There's a set of time there where Loomis continued to work with Michael before Sartain took over. There's a set of time there where presumably Marion Chambers might have been involved. So the fact that you're having Marion Chambers back in this new movie, and the actress who played her in the original film, of course, I'm okay with the character of Marion giving a little bit of exposition and some insight into maybe what was going on in that time. I'm okay with that. But at any point in time, should the magic trick be revealed. At no point in time should we find out any sort of deep-seated, real rich exposition on an explanation to Michael Myers. Never. He must remain an enigma. The enigma, the mystique, the ambiguity of the character and of the why should never be revealed. The deconstruction of the trauma that I'm hoping Curtis is talking about is deconstructing how these characters, Tommy, Lindsay, Brackett, Laurie, Lonnie, how these characters have dealt with, it's the residual effects of how they've dealt with what's happened to them in 1978. because everybody's going to deal with it differently. Everybody's going to experience it differently. So that's what I'm hoping they mean by that, is sort of like, we're going to find out how's Tommy been doing? How's this affected him? Because it may have affected him very differently than how it affected Lindsay. And it may have affected Lindsay and Tommy very differently in how it affected, Lori and Lonnie and Brackett and, but you know what I mean? There's so many, but they're all experiencing the same things, but in different ways. And again, I'm okay with finding out a little bit of exposition. Oh, I was there with Dr. Loomis. We took care of, Michael, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. Okay. But you keep it to a minimum. Don't go into this, oh, Michael was, and we found out it was the curse of this, and we found out that he was, his parents were cult leaders, and they're like, don't go fucking, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, don't do that. Keep the mystery there. There's no need. That is the lore of this character. He's purely and simply evil. We don't know what this means. What is this? You got to keep it there. At least that's how I feel about it. You got to keep it there, man. You got to keep it there. Drum Dum says, always keep the mystery of Myers alive. Always. Yes, exactly. You just don't know. They are. It's like how I feel about how Michael escaped the fire at the end of the 2018 film. Now, do I think in likelihood there's a good chance we're going to see him escape? Yeah, because there's that quick shot of him in the doorway holding onto that firefighter's tool. I forget the name, escapes me now. The chat will let me know. But that tool that he's holding there. And, so it's likely that maybe the firemen show up to put out the fire. They go inside to try and, see if there's anybody in there. Michael attacks. And listen, the visual spectacle of Michael attacking firefighters in a burning house, that's pretty cool, right? For the visual spectacle. That's cool. That's cool to see. A Halo bar? Is that what it's called? Halo bar? Yeah. Anyway, good spectacle, right? Like the spectacle of that. Michael attacking, people in the fire, or the house on fire, and he's attacking firefighters, and, they're attacking. The fire hose. Yeah, it's cool shit. It's cool. But is it needed? No. I just want the preservation to be intact. As long as people in the movie are perplexed by his escape. Like, you don't even need to show that. I understand they're probably going to show that. I have no insight to whether they are, but they probably are. Because it's juicy. It's a juicy spectacle not to show it. But you don't need it, because as long as your characters in the movie, your Lindsay, your Tom, your Lori, your Karen, your Allison, as long as they are like, how the fuck did he get out? How did he escape? What the fuck? As long as they are they are perplexed and confused and weirded out and creeped out by it, it works. It works. If they don't show that they're perplexed by it, if they're just like, well, then it's weird. Then it seems strange and lame and doesn't seem genuine. It doesn't seem authentic, because you would be that way. You'd be like, what the fuck? So as long as they're like, what the fuck? I'm okay with it, because I don't need to see his process. And again, when I say process, I don't mean his process at all, because somebody said to me a while ago, they're like, well, Dave, you said you don't need to see his process, but you see his process of how he killed Bob and how he killed Andy. That's not what I mean by process. I mean his process of escaping. I don't need to see Michael crawling. I don't need to see Michael in vulnerable situations, escaping a mine shaft and floating down a river. I don't need to say that to see that. It puts this character that otherwise should always be seen in a confident, sort of in control of the situation kind of light. I don't need to see him in this vulnerable, weak situation. That's what I mean by that. Unless he's being shot off a balcony and he's, lying on the ground. But then it's immediately countered with, he's gone. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they counter that weak moment with strength. You know what I mean? So it's just, that's how I kind of feel about it. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by I don't need to see his process, is I don't need to see him struggling to get out of a fire. No, he just does. He just can, because he's the boogeyman. even though we know there's obviously a process somewhere. We don't need to see that. Brendan Gregory, oh, he's talking to somebody. Mr. No Name, oh, he's talking to somebody as well. Awesome. Love to see you guys chatting amongst each other. That's what I like. I like that shit. I like seeing you guys chatting amongst each other. Hey, did any super chats come in? I'm just checking because I was yapping there. Nope, Brooke Lou was the last one. Okay, good. I'm always going back to the other page now to see if anything's come in, because there was a little bit there where super chats would come in, but they wouldn't show up in the chat room, but they would show up on the other page where I have the live YouTube window open. I was like, oh, that's kind of strange. So that's why I keep bouncing back and forth, just making sure that I didn't miss any super chats, because obviously I want to answer those for you guys. Alex G says, if they made a Halloween 3 today, what would be the best way to go about it? Well, I've said this 1,000 times. Halloween 3, I don't know what would be the best way to go about it, but I will say, like off the top of my head, but I will say this, I am totally open to exploring a modern Halloween 3 idea. 100%. Because although I enjoy watching Halloween 3, I do think it's a little overrated. And I think it's become a cult sort of fan favorite because it's, you know, there's things to like about it. I love the concept, but I've said this 1,000 times. I think its concept, its story was too big for the sandbox they were playing in. Their ideas were too big for the budget they had. It's a great idea. I love the idea, but I think it's a small, I don't get the grand scale like they're trying to make it seem. I just don't feel it watching that movie. It feels too small because it's a small budget, it's a small film. I would love to see what they would do with Halloween 3 Season of the Witches idea with a big budget movie. I don't mean a blockbuster movie. I don't mean like a $150 million film, but I mean like a $60 million film, you know, or a $50 million film, or something that can give it this global apocalyptic grand scale would be really interesting to me because there's a lot of potential there. I just think the concept was too big for the sandbox they were given. And that's how I kind of feel about Halloween 3. Let's see here. Dead. Oh, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Says Dead Aim Gun Con. Dead Aim Gun Con? Dead Aim Gun Con? I'm probably not saying it right. I know it's Dead M Gun Con. Whatever. You know who I'm talking about. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Says, can you give Josh Hartnett's line from H2O in Trump's voice? Michael Myers is dead. Michael Myers is dead. He is dead. He was great. He was fantastic. There's nothing to see here. Myers is dead, okay? Myers is dead. All right. But I love him. He's amazing. He's a great man. There you go, buddy. Frank Riker says in the super chat, thank you, Frank. Really appreciate it. Says, Dave just got done spray tanning with... I love how he pays for these. Dave just got done, or no, you just got done, right? Just got done spray tanning with John Carpenter. Says, Halloween ends when Michael starts his own talk show doing nothing but paternity tests. Man, who are confirmed fathers are... Who are the men who are confirmed fathers are stabbed immediately. I love it. That would be a funny, like a video seeing Michael Myers in the Maury Povich role, you know, and you are the father, and then he stands up and he starts stabbing, or you know, the girls. That'd be funny. Frank, I love you, man. Always brightening my day. I can always count on Frank the Tank, to brighten my day. Jason Knight says, Dave, can I get a B-Day shout out before you leave? Oh, is your birthday today? I thought it was at the end of the month. It's your birthday today? Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday to Jason Nike, great patron, great moderator here on the channel, great support of the channel, man. Awesome stuff. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jason. Okay, just happy birthday. Go out, go to the restaurants, even though they're closed. Just go and have a great time. Just do it. I don't care. He probably doesn't care. Happy birthday, buddy. Duke Fleed says, Dave, do you think we'll see a Loomis cameo in the H Kills flashback scenes? I think there's a high probability of that. I don't know if we'll see like his face, but it wouldn't surprise you, because you know how there's the rumors, well, not the rumors, but those who have seen the test screenings have said there's another character that returns that hasn't been talked about yet. And some people speculate Danielle Harris. No, There's no fuck. I think that is so low on the list. I don't think it's worth even talking about. Although you never know. And then some people say, what about Hawkins, right? Because Hawkins did look pretty, if Hawkins comes back, he's barely alive, and maybe he's in the hospital. They wheel Laurie into, a room, and there's Hawkins. Frank could totally see that. 100% could totally see that. Could buy that. He survived somehow. He's barely alive, but he's alive. Maybe he's unconscious with a mask over his face. And Laurie's like, oh my God, Frank. Could totally see that. Or is it Dr. Loomis? But again, it's not, if it is Dr. Loomis, it's, you have to remember that doesn't necessarily mean that it's Dr. Loomis right there, flesh and blood having lunch. They're not going to deep fake that shit, I doubt. What they're going to do is I could see a scenario where in the 78 flashback scene, we hear Loomis's voice and maybe we see Loomis running down the sidewalk from a distance, but you're using a double, obviously. It's not really him, right? But you see him flailing off in the, way off into the distance, into the distance with his trench coat, flying, and you hear Michael or something, whatever. Or maybe you see like the back of his shoulder as he's talking to one of the cops, or you see like his shoe, and technically he's an original character that did come back, even though he's not really back. So there's many ways you can use Loomis. You could absolutely hire somebody that looks identical to him and just have him in it. Just have him in it. And there you go. It's him. And we know it's not Donald Pleasance, but it's there he is. Or you can use it the other way where you show shoulders and the back of ears and things like that. I think that's likely what they're going to do if Loomis was to return per se. But I think there's a good bet that it could be Hawkins and Will Patton. I would think that Will Patton would. And again, too, just because another character, there's a character apparently that hasn't been mentioned yet also returns, doesn't mean that they have a big part. I mean, maybe Hawkins does return, but he spends the whole fucking movie in the hospital. And then he wakes up at the end and be like, hey, Laurie. It doesn't mean that he's active, right? Who knows? I don't know. It's interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. Interesting stuff, folks. Interesting times we are here. But yes, do I think Halloween Kills will be delayed? Still too early to tell. It doesn't come out till October. Movies that are likely to be delayed with their releases are movies that were going to be released in April, May, maybe June. Those things are likely to maybe be delayed. Right now, I think the fall is still, we're still okay. But I do think it's likely that the principal photography production start date for Halloween Ends is likely to be postponed. I think that is likely to happen. I think that's likely to happen. Yes. Let's see here. Filthy Dan says, if I have nightmares about Michael, you can bet it's gonna Michael from H6. Skyline says, unlikely to be delayed. It's literally a Halloween movie. I really don't think they delay the whole trilogy a year. Well, it all depends. It all depends. I think it is unlikely at this moment that Halloween Kills will be delayed, but I think it is I think it's very probable, as in very likely, that the production start date for Halloween Ends will be delayed. I'm not saying the release of Halloween Ends. I'm talking about shooting Halloween Ends, because Jason Blum said that they were planning on shooting in the next couple of months. He said that a month ago. Well, that brings us to May. Well, depending on what's going to happen between now and May, there's a high probability that start date could be delayed. But the release of Kills, I think, is still okay at the moment. But I mean, look, if the same thing is happening now that's happening in October, you can guarantee that it's going to be delayed 100% because the theaters are closed, or they make the unprecedented moves and they continue to release these things digitally, which is, who knows? Maybe that'll happen too. That could happen. Okay, we'll go for a few more minutes here. Go for a few more minutes here on this 31st episode of McRae Live. Great to see everybody here talking some Halloween. Julian Salgado. Salgado. Maybe it's Salgado.
Is that right?
Shut up, Google. Salgado. Maybe it's that. Maybe I think that's how I'm supposed to emphasize it. Do you think the script for H Kills is already done? Like they already know how this new trilogy ends? Stupid Google Home. Yes, I do. Yes. I mean, there could be some minor tweaks that are happening still, but yes, I do think that the script for Halloween Halloween Ends. Wait, what did you say? Kills? Do you think the script for Halloween Kills is already done? Did you mean Ends? Halloween Kills is already shot. It's in post-production. So yeah, the script for Halloween Kills was signed, sealed, and delivered probably a year ago. Halloween Ends, perhaps you mean. Yes, I do think that is probably correct. Salgado, yes. Yeah, see, I know, I was saying that. I was just emphasizing the syllables incorrectly. Sorry about that, buddy. And yes, sorry, Ends. Okay, yes, I think it's likely that it's done. Yeah, for sure. Mason says, what do you think Halloween Kills will be about? And do you think that Laurie... Well, like I've said, I think Halloween Kills is going to be about, largely, Laurie will spend most of her time in the hospital recovering. This is just how I think this is going to go. We'll spend the vast majority of the film recovering in the hospital. And I think that and then really the focus is going to be on Allison, Karen, Tommy, and Lindsay, and Mary, and kind of out and about, sort of a vigilante kind of thing, trying to find Michael. They realize that he's escaped either through the media or, what happened, and they go to find him. And we watch this journey. It's kind of like a cat and mouse chase between this ragtag group of OGs, with a couple of new G's in there, trying to find Michael. And Laurie spends most of her time at the hospital and recovering. And then I think the climax, maybe everything leads to the hospital, and that's where the climax of H Kills happens. That's what I think is the likely direction, based on, I based that on just, I thought of that like months ago. So I don't know. We'll see. I could be completely wrong. I could be absolutely completely wrong. You never know, folks. You never, ever know. Let me see. Did I miss? No, I did not miss. Just checking those super chats. You always got to check those super chats. Don't want to leave anybody high and dry. Let's see here. Oh, super chat just came in now from Frank Riker. Dave, will Laurie fool Michael by changing her gender in the hospital? Michael can... Now that's funny. That's funny. Maybe they admit her as Larry Strode. Maybe that's it. That's it. Frank has figured it out, ladies and gentlemen. That's funny. Frank, I always count on Frank to dish the hilarity, folks. That's funny. Mason James says, Dave, how does Halloween Ends finish the Halloween story? I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't seen it. I hope it finishes it with Michael dying. And what I mean by that is because I believe you can kill Michael Myers but still plant the seed of doubt in people's minds. And if you want to know what I mean, go watch my sequel concept idea that I uploaded onto my channel last summer. It's my idea it's called The Shape, and it's my idea for a sequel to Halloween 2018. And, for me, you want to kill Michael, but you want to do it in a way that leaves people going, is he? But that's not with like any eyes suddenly opening or he suddenly sits up or somebody coming out of a closet. Not that cheesy cliche bullshit we've seen for hundreds of slasher movies. I don't want to see that. Add something that's a little more mature. Add something that's a little more philosophical. Add more of a philosophical, mature approach to the ending of Halloween Ends. And I think you will actually satisfy more people than you won't. Because although not everybody agreed with the direction I took my sequel concept idea, most everybody, at least the feedback was, they really liked how I ended it. They thought it was a mature ending. And now the key is to end it that way, but not make any more. You don't go on, at least in this timeline. If you want to reboot it and reinvent it or whatever, that's fine. But you don't go on and make any more. You end it where it's like you just plant the seed of doubt into people's minds in more of a philosophical way. And it's kind of like, interesting, like it's like, that's how you do it. So you don't just end it by him like his head being chopped off or because it's You know, I hope they have the guts and the maturity to do that, but I don't know if they do. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. I really have no idea if they have the guts to do it. I don't know. We'll see here. Brooke Louie says, I hope Halloween Kills doesn't get held back in theaters because of the toilet paper virus. yeah, TPV. I agree. It's still too early to tell, but I absolutely agree. Let's see here. Go for 5 more minutes. We'll go 5 more minutes. We'll take this to 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 5 more minutes, ladies and germs. No play on the COVID-19 stuff there. Let's see. Evan Heathcock says, who, if any, do you think dies in Halloween Kills? Lori, Karen, or Allison? I think somebody is going to die in Halloween Kills. No. I don't think it's going to be Lori. I don't think it's going to be Karen or Allison. Although if I had a choice between Lori, Karen, and Allison, I would say Karen is likely to die. Over, like, between those 3, I think Karen's your likely bet. Over everybody, I think we could see Lindsay go. And I think we could see either Marion or Brackett go. I think Tommy will survive kills. And Lonnie. I think you're going to see Lonnie go for sure. I hope it's not just Lonnie, because Lonnie, out of all of them, Lonnie's the most expendable one. Lonnie's the one nobody gives a fuck about. I mean, we like the character in the sense of, you know, he's one of the OGs. Obviously not played by the same actor, of course, but the character, of course. But he's a. Oh, I'm looking up there. You guys are down here. Yeah, I forgot I switched cameras. He's a drunk, shitty dad, right? And he was an idiot in the first movie as a little boy. So killing Lonnie feels cheap to me. It feels like the easy way out, because it's like, well, naturally. Now, I'm not saying you don't kill Lonnie, but don't just kill Lonnie. You know, kill Lonnie and kill Cameron. Kill Lonnie and kill Marion. Kill Lonnie and kill Brackett. You know, like do something where it's like, whoa, okay, shit just got real. Have some balls, right? Let your audience know we're not fooling around here. You know, and don't have them half killed, like Brackett's in, I'm kind of dead, but I'm coming back in the hospital. No, he's dead. He's dead. But have him go out in a blaze of glory. You know, like Michael murdered his daughter, presumably maybe his only daughter. He sacrifices himself maybe to save Marion, you know, from Michael, and he's like, this is for Annie, or, you know, whatever, like something like, but you got to kill somebody other than the obvious one, which would be Lonnie or Lori. You know, come on. You gotta, I mean, Lori is more like, whoa, but it's almost kind of expected. Like, even though Lori is Lori, for some reason, killing Lori doesn't feel as whoa as killing like Brackett or killing like Tommy. You know, for some reason that feels more like, whoa, you know, because Lori's just kind of like, at this point in the game, we're kind of like, fuck, is she dead yet? You know what I mean? Because there's been so many movies with her. So yeah, I think out of those 3 you mentioned, Lori, Karen, and Alice, I think Karen's a likely one. And out of everybody, I think it's Lonnie is likely, because he's just the most expendable, because nobody likes him anyway. But I'm hoping they take some risks and kill a Lindsay or a Tommy or a Marion or a Brackett. Or maybe all 4. Fuck, whoa, that'd be intense. I'd be down for that. I'd totally be down for that. All right, 1 more minute, folks. 1 more minute. Let's see. But 1 more minute. Stuart Johnson says, I think the flashback scene could be amazing. It could be. It might be, man. It very well could be. You never know. It could be. It absolutely could be. Marshall McRae, I like the last name. Hey, Dave, don't forget to give a shout out to your long lost relative here before you depart. But Marshall McRae, we might be. You never know. The Madhammer AR-15 says, Sir Dave, what if Halloween Ends 3rd act takes place on a ferry, and after a big battle, they toss Michael into shark-infested waters, and we witness in graphic detail the dismemberment of the shape. I'm down. Let's do it, man. Let's Do it. I'm totally down. I'm totally down. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me here on episode 30. I was going to say 51. There's 251 people watching. Episode 31 of McRae Live. I want to thank you for everybody who tuned in. It's always great to talk some Halloween. Obviously, naturally, the 31st episode, I was going to be talking Halloween, and that's what we did today. It's always fun to talk Halloween with you guys. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the super chats. Of course, it helps keep these shows going. So I really do appreciate that as well. And everybody, the community that we're building here on this channel, I think is just awesome. And remember, we don't always have to agree with each other. What kind of fun world would it be if we did, right? I mean, come on. You know, it's fun to talk and to exchange ideas and our passions and things like that. And that's what I love about talking to you guys as well. So yes, I will be back definitely Thursday morning on McRae Live, either Thursday or Friday. The plan is to get Bruce on. We'll be talking It's Me, Billy. We'll be talking COVID-19 and how it's affecting the film industry, because Bruce is boots on the ground involved in that. So we'll be talking about that as well. And yeah, but I don't know if that's going to be Thursday or Friday. And of course, if anything piques my interest, I might do a standalone video as well. That's always a possibility at any given time. But I will definitely be back 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time Thursday on McRae Live, and you'll know what that show will be very soon. So yeah, thanks everybody. Really appreciate you tuning in. Stay safe out there. You know, I mean, they're saying now that you have to limit your exposure to what, like 10 people or something? I mean, soon they're just going to say, just go into your bathroom and sit on the toilet. Just go into your bathroom, get your food, bring your food into the bathroom, and just sit on the toilet for the next 3 months. I mean, that's essentially where we're at now. All right, folks, that's it for me. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will talk to you guys soon. Cheers.